Welcome to the Ad Expert Podcast. Today, we're diving into something, well, pretty crucial for anyone managing a marketing budget or thinking about long-term business health. We're talking about how to build an evergreen paid traffic campaign. Our mission really is to look past those, short-term campaign bursts. We want to analyze the strategic steps, the ones you need to establish paid campaigns that actually stay profitable for years, ideally, not just a few weeks. This isn't about jumping on the latest fleeting social media trend. It's more like building infrastructure. And the insights we're drawing on today, they come from an organization that's really focused on this long-term digital game, Ad Expert. They're a Los Angeles-based online marketing and web development agency, and they've been at it for over a decade. So plenty of experience. Their whole thing is driving reliable conversions. Think Google Ads management, SEO, web development, that sort of thing. Okay, let's unpack this. In a world where digital trends, algorithms, everything seems to change daily, what does it actually take? What are the core principles that let a paid campaign genuinely last?
That really is the key question, isn't it? It's a shift in mindset. Most marketers, maybe understandably, treat paid ads like a sprint. Focus on the immediate sale right now. But the Evergreen strategy, that treats it much more like a marathon. It's pretty essential for anyone who's looking for that consistent, predictable, long-term success. At its core, the definition is all about sustained relevance. An evergreen campaign uses content, and the ads pointing to it that just maintain their value. They keep their appeal over a really long time. So you're deliberately choosing to address those perennial needs, the core ongoing questions people have in your niche, not just temporary buzz. Think of it as trying to minimize that operational friction later on.
I like that marathon analogy. Yeah, so you're aiming for the exact opposite of like that high risk, maybe high reward viral hit, the kind that forces you to constantly scramble for new content.
Precise.
But okay, doesn't focusing only on timeless stuff mean you might miss out? Those big seasonal spikes or capitalizing on some breaking industry news. How do you balance that? The short-term win versus the long, steady grind?
That's a really good point and a sophisticated question. The evergreen approach, it isn't really meant to completely eliminate your promotional campaigns or your seasonal pushes. Not at all. Instead, think of it as creating this robust, low-maintenance base layer, a foundation of consistent, cost-effective traffic that generates reliable profit underneath everything else. Those seasonal spikes, they become bonuses, things you build on top of that steady foundation. They're not the primary engine driving revenue. If you really nail the evergreen strategy, you end up generating consistent traffic for years, and that frees up budget, it frees up effort from that constant pressure of, reinventing the wheel every quarter.
Okay, that reframes its purpose completely. It's foundational.
Exactly.
Which means the stability of that baseline profit really depends on the content it links to, right? If the content isn't solid, the whole system kind of falls apart.
Absolutely. The link is critical.
So what makes content truly evergreen? Our sources are clear. High-quality foundational content is the non-negotiable backbone here.
Yes, exactly. And we can break down what that looks like. There are maybe 3 key characteristics. First, it absolutely must address timeless issues. Think about it. If your business solves a fundamental problem, maybe helping people save money, or improve their health, or maybe optimize business efficiency, that need isn't going away. Doesn't really matter if it's 2024 or 2034. People will still be searching for answers related to that core problem.
Okay, timeless issues. Makes sense. What's next?
Second, it needs to function as a genuinely comprehensive resource. This means providing solid answers to the foundational FAQs, the big questions in your industry, the stuff people search for on Google year after year. Think about things like comprehensive guides, maybe detailed glossaries, or definitive how-to explanations of core principles in your field. And third, this content has to deliver exceptional, lasting value. The user experience when they land on your page needs to be superb. This is critical because, Google rewards quality experiences, right? Better visibility comes from that. And in the paid context, it supports the effort with higher quality scores. Ultimately, that helps drive down your cost per click.
Okay, so content is the anchor. Timeless, comprehensive, high value. Got it. Then the delivery system, the keywords, that has to be engineered for permanence too, doesn't it?
It does.
I'm still kind of stuck on this keyword piece, though. Paid ads can get notoriously expensive, especially if you're chasing broad, really competitive terms. How does the keyword research part specifically secure that evergreen status for the paid side and keep it cost efficient?
Yeah, the cost efficiency is key. The difference really lies in the philosophy behind it. It's about intent and volume. Effective evergreen keyword research isn't about finding the hottest phrase right now. It's about identifying those search terms that consistently drive traffic, yes, but traffic that converts at a high rate over long periods. So marketers need to target long-tail, high-performing search terms.
Can you maybe define long tail a bit more clearly for someone listening who wants an actionable takeaway?
Sure, absolutely. When we say long tail, we're usually talking about highly specific phrases, often maybe 4 or 5 words long, sometimes even more. They show very specific user intent. So for example, instead of just targeting digital marketing, which is super broad, hyper competitive, you might target something much more specific like how to set up evergreen paid campaigns for B2B software.
Ah, okay. Much more specific.
Exactly. The search volume on that very specific phrase might be smaller, maybe only say 200 to 500 searches a month globally, but those terms tend to offer significantly higher conversion rates, often, 80% higher or even more, because the user knows exactly what problem they're trying to solve. And this is just crucial for paid longevity. You're spending your money efficiently on prospects who are basically signaling they're ready to convert, rather than wasting budget on clicks from people just starting their research. You then align these specific, often lower competition keywords directly with those high-quality, timeless content assets we were just talking about.
Right. So the paid ad isn't just pushing some temporary deal. It's directing a user, someone with very specific intent, straight to the definitive, unchanging guide to X, essentially.
Precisely.
But even with long-tail terms, how does an evergreen campaign handle the cost pressure? What happens when competitors inevitably figure out those high-intent phrases and start bidding aggressively on them too? That seems like a risk.
That is definitely a challenge, and that's where relying on sophisticated data analysis and potentially strategic partnerships really comes into play. You can't just guess at these terms and hope for the best long term. Our sources, like AdExpert, really emphasize using a data-driven approach. That means combining your own past performance data with, and this is critical, robust competitor analysis to build tailored strategies. You have to constantly be on the lookout for adjacent, profitable long-tail terms that maybe your competitors haven't recognized yet. It's an ongoing process. The goal is always maximizing your visibility on those known, reliable searches where your specific content already has the highest quality score. That high score inherently gives you some protection against competitor cost pressure because Google rewards relevance.
Okay, that makes the ongoing maintenance seem even more complex, maybe more important than the initial setup. Creating the campaign is just step one, right? Continuous optimization seems absolutely mandatory if you want to realize that long-term, maybe decade-plus value. It's definitely not a set it and forget it kind of deal.
Absolutely not. That's a common misconception. The biggest challenge often isn't the initial setup. It's fighting off what you might call algorithm fatigue or just general decay over, say, 3 or 5 years or longer. To ensure that sustained, cost-effective success, continuous maintenance is mandatory, non-negotiable. And we basically have 3 main levers we can pull for optimization.
Okay, 3 levers. What's the first one?
The first is periodic content updates. And this is more than just a quick spell check or grammar fix. It means actively refreshing the content with new data points, making sure any statistics cited are current, maybe adding new insights or examples, but without changing the core timeless principle of the piece. So if your guide on, say, SEO basics is 5 years old, you absolutely need to add information about things like core web vitals or shifts in mobile indexing or whatever is currently relevant. But the question is, how often is periodic? It probably shouldn't be just a fixed schedule, like doing it every quarter automatically.
Yeah.
It really should be driven by performance decay.
Performance decay. What do you mean by that specifically?
Good question. So if you start seeing your organic rankings for that content piece begin to slip, or maybe more relevant for this paid discussion, if your quality score on a specific ad group linked to that content starts declining noticeably.
Okay.
Or maybe the click-through rate, the CTR, drops below a benchmark you've set, maybe it dips under 1.5% consistently, that is your signal. That's the trigger to go in and refresh the associated content immediately. Essentially, the ad performance is telling you the content is starting to feel a bit dated or maybe less relevant to what users currently expect when they click.
Okay. That's a much more specific, actionable metric than just update it sometimes. Very useful. What are the other 2 levers for maintenance?
So the second lever is refining the keyword strategy. Even if the core topic itself is timeless, the language people use to search for it can subtly shift over time. Little nuances change. So we need to continually monitor things like the search term report in Google Ads. The goal is to identify new, adjacent, long-tail terms that are emerging, terms that show relevant intent, and add those to our campaigns. And, just as importantly, we need to suppress or pause terms that have become maybe too expensive or they've stopped converting effectively. This is usually constant, small adjustments, tiny tweaks, not wholesale changes to the keyword list every week.
Constant refinement. Got it. And the third.
And the third lever is monitoring analytics in real time. You absolutely have to continuously watch and adjust the performance of the paid ads themselves. This really requires having access to real-time insights across all your relevant channels. When you have live tracking and reporting set up properly, like Ad Expert offers, giving clients that bird's-eye view, you can see immediately if the cost efficiency is holding up. For instance, if your cost per acquisition, your CPA, starts creeping up on a keyword that's supposed to be reliably evergreen, you have to investigate why. Is it suddenly increased competition? Or is the content associated with that ad now feeling weak or outdated? You need the data to know where to look.
That level of constant monitoring, analysis, adjustment, it really does sound resource intensive, especially over years. Our sources mention advanced tools helping here, specifically mentioning innovative AI solutions becoming crucial. How does AI specifically help manage a complex multi-year evergreen campaign like this?
Yeah. AI is becoming increasingly important because it provides the speed and, crucially, the scale needed for this kind of granular long-term management. It's really moved beyond just basic automation now. We're talking about things like AI-powered customer targeting that can refine audience segments automatically based on predictive modeling of who is most likely to convert, and advanced optimization tools that can analyze performance across hundreds or thousands of keywords and suggest specific budget shifts between different ad groups based on marginal returns, basically, where the next dollar spent will be most effective. So effectively, AI helps ensure that every dollar you spend in these long-running campaigns is working as hard as possible. It can dynamically manage bids, allocate budgets across campaigns, all aimed at protecting that long-term ROI.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what does this really mean for someone listening, someone trying to build this kind of strategic moat around their marketing efforts? It sounds like building an evergreen paid traffic campaign is fundamentally about, first, strategic, high-value content selection, choosing those topics that solve perpetual problems, and then pairing that with precise, long-term keyword targeting, focusing really tightly on specific user intent rather than just chasing sheer volume.
That's a great summary.
And it absolutely requires a strict data-driven commitment to continuous optimization, leveraging those real-time performance metrics, possibly advanced tech like AI, just to ensure your traffic stays steady, reliable, and importantly, incredibly cost-effective over potentially many, many years.
Exactly. Which, thinking about it, raises a really important sort of final question for anyone looking to actually execute this kind of complex, sustained strategy. Given the necessity for potentially localized expertise, understanding how, for instance, Los Angeles digital marketing trends might differ from national ones, which Ad Expert focuses on, and you combine that with the absolute requirement for continuous real-time data analysis and sophisticated AI optimization. How critical does the partnership aspect become? How dependent is successfully sustaining one of these complex evergreen campaigns for a decade or more on building a really strong long-term relationship with a dedicated expert digital agency? It almost suggests that the strategy itself is only as robust as the ongoing team, the people who are actually executing that continuous granular maintenance day in and day out. Makes you think, doesn't it?